And now for the Drew Sutton Leadership Show, lighting the way with real leaders, real stories, and real impact. Because when leaders stop growing, the darkness wins. All right, welcome back to another amazing episode of the Drew Sutton Leadership Show. Today, we're asking the question, how can we save journalism? To do it, do we need to blow up the entire media model as we know it, or is there a better way? Our guest today is Adam Koehler. He is the founder of Content Credits, a groundbreaking platform that lets readers fund real journalism one micropayment at a time. A serial entrepreneur, creative strategist, and builder of the Cincinnati Exchange, Adam is leading a movement to tear down paywalls, fight fake news, and create a new economy for truth, where the best stories win because the people choose to pay for them. Now, listen, before we get rolling the show, I just got to say this. I really, really like this guy. Adam's not just a brilliant founder. He's an amazing community builder. We met about a year ago, and since then, I've gotten to see firsthand how much he invests in people. He's the real deal, a genuine advocate for entrepreneurship and the Cincinnati startup scene. And besides that, just a good friend to have in your corner. So without any further ado, welcome to the show, Adam.
Hey, thanks a lot, Drew, for having me.
Yeah, man. I am super pumped about this. It sounds, I remember when you first pitched it to me, I was like, that sounds a little boring. But when you really start digging into it, like all truly great innovations, it is boring, but it solves a really big problem.
Right.
Before we get into that problem, let's talk a little bit about your background so that folks understand where you're coming from here. You're a serial entrepreneur and a community builder, but then you've also been in politics. So I'm just going to leave you with that prompt. Help us fill us in a little bit on your background.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've always been in Cincinnati, right? I'm from the west side of Cincinnati, the real side, the real people live on the west side. Just so you know that, Drew.
Not
yeah. So I've always been here. I went to a creative performing arts school downtown and studied art. I did drama for 6 years and art for 8 years. So, I knew I wanted a career in the arts and went off to school in Pittsburgh, had a big Bengals sticker on the back of my car, and they didn't like that very much. I came back to Cincinnati. One job led to another job, eventually led to me deciding I didn't want to work for other people and started an ad agency. So I've been doing that for 14 years called Reversed Out. Reversedout.com is the domain. But we do a lot of projects, big technology projects now. It all started out as, me designing logos and websites and things like that. And it's turned into something much bigger over the last decade and a half almost. And we got involved in 2008, 2009. I was actually freelancing in an agency. And a buddy of mine had an idea for a company called Loop. And it was a e-transactions platform, essentially e-signatures for the real estate world, for real estate contracts. So we got rid of the fax machine in the real estate world. We sold that to Zillow back in 2015. It was a pretty largest transaction for a startup at the time in Cincinnati. So it brought attention from the coast because only 1% of money comes from the coast back into the middle of the country. So it was a big win for the area. And since then, we've had a lot of people go off and start their own companies that were employees, which I'm really proud of that. I got the bug. It's like you do one thing, you want to do another thing. After the sale, I bought this building that I'm in. It's an old Knights of Columbus building in northern Kentucky, about 20,000 square feet. It's got a commercial kitchen in it. We're building out an event center. But actually, the idea for Content Credits came about 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago at this point. I don't even remember. But I was buying stock photos off of iStock Photo. And I was like, well, hey, if you could do this for photos, why couldn't you do this for all these paywalled articles? Well, then we started Loop, and, I didn't really go with the Content Credits thing. But now I'm back. Nobody's really solved the problem, and I think we have. So here we are.
What I love about this is that everything you're talking about there, this is, in my mind, what true innovation is. Innovation is where you take something that we've done for 150 years and you add the tech to it that makes it make sense. Yep. Right. So Uber, we've been taking horse and buggies. We've been calling up a taxi. We've been giving each other rides for ages. And all we did there was we connected people that have some time and a resource to people that didn't want to take a taxi. Right. So that's the best businesses. Loop, we've been signing contracts since somebody invented the clay tablet. and Dot Loop is just signing the contracts with electricity. And what I love about content credits, so I'm just going to lay out the value proposition here. When I want to go research some information, so if I want to know what's going on in politics, Twitter's probably not the best place to go for that. Right? Facebook, whatever your algorithm is, not the best. Let's go to the source and let's read a peer-reviewed, meaningful article. And what stops us there is a paywall, right? You get this little paywall pop up, and you're like, and then if you're like me, and I'm a pretty well-informed person, I'm like, it's not worth paying $3.99 to join the Wall Street Journal, right? Like, I just don't feel like giving the Wall Street Journal my credit card. And so here I am. I could have access to that journal. I just don't feel like paying the $3.99 for it. You have kind of a better way to describe that, which is, how do people, I mean, it's not an issue of paying. What's the problem? Why don't we just pay to get through that paywall?
Yeah. So the trend right now is no subscriptions, right? People have subscription fatigue. I mean, look at the price, and Netflix keeps going up, Spotify, all this other stuff. People are just sick of it. And there's industries out here now, like Rocket Money, Experian, when you go to check your credit, they will find all your unused subscriptions, or the subscriptions like you just forgot about, and they'll cancel them for you. So, I mean, there is an industry out here working against the subscription industry. Anything that's got a subscription, like, they're working against them. So it's making it really hard for publications, journalists, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, to grow their subscriber base outside of that, like, older demographic that sees themselves as, you know, hey, if I've got a New York Times subscription, I'm in tune with the truth, or whatever it is, right? And we could debate whether you think the New York Times is the truth or not. But, you know, they've got fact-based research, and they've got real journalists working there, right? And they have for a long time. But the alternative is go to Twitter, go to Facebook, go, you know, to some of these other places that may not be legit, and you may be getting the wrong information. You may be getting sensationalized information is what I'm more concerned about. Things that drive clicks. Like, if I'm a YouTube influencer, you know, my headlines and my thumbnail and everything I say is extra, right?
Yeah.
And it keeps subscribers coming in because people want that entertainment. So, you know, what we do is we said, hey, just give us $10. You get 40 credits. They're pegged at a quarter. And anytime you hit a paywall, if they're a partner of ours and they have our button on their paywall, you just click the button and you get past the paywall for a quarter. You don't have to have an expensive New York Times subscription, expensive, like 5 or 6 subscriptions. It's costing you $500 a year. You know, like, just pay a quarter and get past the paywall.
Yeah, and just read the article that makes sense, right?
That's
so this is, I have for years, I'm a little bit of a libertarian, is what it is. People can hate me for it.
I'm guilty as well.
I've for years said, you know, the way we should do our taxes every year is we should get a big ream of paper that allows us to check off the stuff that we want to support, and then we should just support that stuff.
Yes.
And you can tell me, okay, your tax bill is this, and then I'm allowed to allocate it. Like, I think that's a fair thing. Maybe that's a great business model. But no, in this case, you're actually paying for what matters. You're not paying the Wall Street Journal to put out, because you kind of brought this up. The larger media outlets, depending on which side of the political spectrum you swing, you think it's more or less reliable, right? Well, why is that? That's because there is a leadership team that is dictating these are the articles that we're going to write, and more or less they have autonomy doing that. Content, the name is giving me content
credits. Yeah.
Content credits. I apologize. Content credits allows me to just click on the articles that I want to read and get that value right there, which will then eventually lead to, hey, look, these are the things that your audience is caring about and it actually values.
That's right. And how much is your content worth? Like, they don't know what an individual article is worth, and until they start doing this, they're never going to find out. So, you know, from the publisher's perspective, it makes sense because this is a new revenue stream for them. It's a data source, right? We can collect data and serve it back to their writers. We can serve it back to the publisher themselves. You know, a lot of their writers are freelancers. You know, and a lot of those freelancers are on Substack. They're trying to figure out how to make money being a freelance journalist. I mean, why not submit articles through us, you know, and get information on what I should write for the day that's going to make me money? You know, and write that article, submit it through us, and it goes to the publisher, and then the publisher decides if they want to publish that or not. And then They decide how much they want to pay the writer, and if content credits is the monetization method, then, maybe the writer gets a nickel for every quarter. We keep a nickel for every quarter, and then the publisher gets 15 cents. And there could be a smart contract in the middle of that, right? So they don't have to trust that we're going to pay them. They could create a smart contract automatically. And this is how much we pay our writers. If you like it, we're going to bid on your, or maybe there's a bidding process. Maybe Wall Street Journal and New York Times wants this article. And they decide, hey, I'll pay you 7 cents. I'll pay you 8 cents, whatever it is. But now, you can pay the writer fairly for what they're writing. And there's a system for that.
Yeah. What I like about this is it gives us a way to get past fake news. Depending on which side of the aisle you're on, you decide this is fake news or you decide this is fake news. But there was a time, and when I grew up, I used to read Superman comics. Like, this is back before the internet. Like, I actually got pieces of paper, right? Read the Superman comics. And what was Superman? The biggest hero of them all. He and Lois Lane were reporters, right? People that were digging in and finding the truth and fighting the big man. Getting the truth out there is not mildly important to a free society. It is critical to a free society. And where we're at now, the money model doesn't make sense. But also your model is not a new model either, because we see this in Patreon and other spots in the arts. When did you just figure out, hey, this is how I want to do this?
I mean, it was literally like 15 years ago. We thought that, hey, this pay per article model should work. And then time went by. Nobody really solved it. What a lot of people do is they aggregate. So they think the answer is to charge a subscription like Apple News. And then Apple News aggregates all that content onto their platform. But then you got another subscription you got to pay for, right? Add more money to whatever it is you're paying Apple already, for your $2,000 cell phone and your expensive plan and all that other stuff. So it was like 15 years ago that I came up with this, but I think the timing makes more sense now because blockchain has become a thing. So on the back end, on the accounting portion of this, we can incorporate blockchain. We don't have that done yet, but that's something we could do because the publishers don't know us from anybody. They don't necessarily trust us, but as tokens come in, they can break apart and they can go into different wallets. And then at the end of the month, we can reconcile with all parties. We can keep some of it, the publisher keeps some of it, and then, just pay everybody out at the end of the month as their wallet fills up. So, we think it's a good way for them to add an additional stream of revenue, but at the same time, be able to pay the writers what they deserve. And maybe they don't even need a salary. Maybe they get paid off of content credits as they write things, and it's just a revenue share at that point. But you're right. You're 100% right. I mean, if you don't have quality journalism and investigative journalism in a free society, then you don't have a free society.
No, and you have to have a way to pay that on a consistent way so that people can justify, putting on the camera vest and running
That's right.
behind the buildings, right?
Yeah, they're not going to do it for free.
So let's switch over here and let's talk about why folks should get excited about this. Obviously, the value proposition, it's a little bit nuanced and boring if you haven't thought through how to pay journalism and how to keep us safe. But I think we've kind of covered that. So this is not just a flash in the pan. First of all, the idea is a long-term idea, but you've recently executed it, and there's a lot of momentum behind it. So talk to me about the journey so far. Where are we at, and when can we expect to start using content credits?
So content credits is ready to roll right now. We're in that phase where we just came out of our bootstrap phase. So, I self-funded it up to this point, and now we're in our angel capital raising phase. And we've actually had a lot of help in the state of Kentucky by, groups like Invest Blue, Key Horse. They've been awesome. I wanted to do this in Kentucky because our last company was in Cincinnati. I bought this building. It's over in Covington. So I figured, hey, we'll headquarter it here. Kentucky needs a win. So why don't I build a startup with high growth potential over here in Kentucky, and there's a lot of support. I mean, each company over here, I think, gets a lot more support, I would say, than in Ohio because, there's so much of this in Ohio. And Kentucky's hungry for a win. And I thought, bring it over here and see what we can come up with. But yeah, we're at that phase. You can go on the website now. You can buy credits. So we've got a PayPal checkout as a way to do it. But really, the only website you can use it on right now is the CincinnatiExchange.com is our website. We built a demo site so that we could show publishers that this actually works. And one of our first publishers we met with was the New York Times, and they love it. They're scared to be the first, and their IT department wants to see some data before they, implement something. So we're actually working with the Epoch Times right now. We're working with BMP Media up in Michigan, Ann Arbor, and they are a trade journal. And I actually just heard back from their IT guy today, and he's been incorporating our tech into it. So it'll get ready to roll. So if you're into architecture, it's going to be on the architectural record soon. So I don't know if anybody's into architecture that much, but if you're listening and you are, and you don't want to pay for a subscription to architectural record, you'll have content credits on there soon.
That's hilarious. What I love about this tech is that it is so it's so dorky, like not in a mean way, but like it's very practical back end sort of integration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we have a WordPress plugin. So if you're a publisher and you have a WordPress website, you can just pop this in there, and then it'll show up at the bottom of your article when you create a new article, and it'll say, do you want to make this a paid article? And you just say yes or no. And then if you say yes, then you just add how many credits you want to charge. So each article that's written, the credit amount can change. So it can be, one credit's 25 cents. So if you want to charge $1, 4 credits. So it's pretty easy that way. If you don't have a WordPress website, then we have an SDK that we can provide. And all it does is when whatever pop-up or paywall service you use, Piano or whatever you use, you just add a new button that says pay with content credits. And it connects to our user base. If the user agrees to pay a quarter, it just deducts a credit from them and then comes back to the website, takes down a paywall. It's that simple.
I love it. It's like the Dave and Buster's of real news, right? You get the Dave and Buster's card, and you can just use the credits to play the game.
Use it on whatever game you want.
So you've also gotten a lot of traction. Not only, you're talking the Epoch Times, you're talking the New York Times. You've got some real companies interested in your technology, but you've also had a lot of success in the pitch competitions. So you've been out in California. Talk us through the journey so far and the success that you've had on the pitching circuit.
That's right. There's one right here, and you can't see it because it's blurry. But that's one of the ones we actually just won. There's another one floating around here too, but it looks exactly the same. So I just put one of them up on the wall. But there's a group called Pitch Force out in California, and I got an invite to pitch to them virtually. So it's all the way out in California. So I did the virtual pitch first. You had 6 minutes to pitch to 6 investors, and there were 6 companies. And the guy that went before me is doing over $100,000 a month in revenue. And I'm like, oh, I'm cooked, right? There's no way I'm winning this. Like, we have no revenue, and we're just burning my money right now to build this thing. But I actually ended up winning. And they loved the idea, and they invited us out to Silicon Valley, to Pillsbury, which is a big, probably one of the most respected law firms for startups in the country. And pretty much on the campus of Stanford. So we went out there. I did 2 pitch competitions, which was an investor. Have you ever done one of the speed dating investor things where you go to one table, the other table? Well, there was like 9 investors. And so I went all around and everything else, and I ended up winning that too. So we got a nice little $5,000 409A evaluation from a company called Equivista out there. So now if we do stock options, we know what the price our stock options at. So that was pretty nice. Plus, we got a nice little award on the wall there.
Very cool, man. All right. So you're past the bootstrapping stage, or you're like transitioning from bootstrapping into the angel stage. How long how can folks get involved? And of course, if you're in the angel stage, you need to be an accredited investors. There's SEC rules that are involved, but how can people find you and get involved besides just using the content credits website?
So if they want to reach me on LinkedIn, they can find me on LinkedIn, Adam Koehler. In order to take on any investors, the good thing is InvestBlue set up an SPV for us. So what the SPV allows is anybody who's under our normal minimum, they can go into the SPV, and the SPV invests as one big group. So they end up meeting our minimum investment threshold. So that's a good way. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. I would have a conversation. I'd present it to you. If you're an accredited investor, there's a sidecar process that you would go to with KYC and AML and all that good stuff. But yeah, I think it's a great thing that InvestBlue did for us. I'm super happy that they were able to do that. That's like a $5,000 legal bill if we were the ones that went and did that. But the state of Kentucky offered that to us, and through the University of Kentucky and InvestBlue, and we're super grateful that vehicle is available to people. So.
Yeah, I love it. And I mean, you mentioned that Kentucky is a great place to start a new business. Kentucky is hungry, and with that hunger comes a lot of great resources. I know the folks at InvestBlue and Keyhorse personally, great groups of folks, and I'm not shocked, but I'm very, very happy that they've been helping you out. All right, let's talk about something else that's exciting. So we've talked about content credits. We've talked about the importance of content credit, like it's empowering the next level of honest journalism. It's giving the power of journalism back to the people. We're fighting fake news. I think that's super exciting. But there's an even more interesting layer, and that is, it's not yet out yet, but that's the comment layer that you have on the website.
Yes.
For those that don't know, there's been a trend in news. We all know about internet trolls and comment trolls, and that has driven an interesting shift in the industry. So can you talk to us about the problem that we're facing there and how your new comment layer is solving that?
Yeah, so one of the biggest problems for them is like our local newspaper, Cincinnati Enquirer. They got rid of their comments altogether on all their articles because it just got a little toxic for them, right? But since then, there's been some AI tools that have come out that help filter out some of that stuff. And then we decided to add a layer of friction for the trolls, because if it's that easy just to go on a website, sign up for an account, and then just start spamming the comments, or creating an X account, like same thing on X, right? I mean, you get a lot of trolley type fake accounts, new accounts with one user or with one follower and all that stuff, just commenting a bunch of nonsense. So what we did was we created a browser extension for Chrome. So if you're a troll or a bot, you physically have to download a browser extension to your computer in order to create this comment layer. So what it is, it's a little tab in the bottom right of your browser. And any website you go on, we track the URL. So say you went to the Cincinnati Enquirer and you got to an article about the Cincinnati Reds and how they almost did it, but they faced the Dodgers and it sucked, right? Because it did suck. You can pop open that little tab and it opens a tray on the side of your browser, and anyone who's commented on that article, you can comment to them. You don't have to copy the URL, go to Facebook, paste it in there so that your friends on Facebook can comment. This essentially creates a new social media layer that lives everywhere. It doesn't have a home necessarily. It's on every site. And all we do is track the URL. And if you open up that tray, any comment in our database just gets pulled in to that specific article on that specific URL, and you can interact with other people right there.
I love it. It kind of reminds me of the website circa 2000 that had like all the little hyperlinks.
Oh yeah,
with all the words. But it's a great way for Google in the world of AI to really begin to validate whether this content is interesting to people and whether this content is approved by people. And it solves the troll issue as well. So I'm excited about that. That layer is not yet coming out though. At the risk of irritating your dev team, when do you think that content layer will come out?
Well, it really depends on Google. So they've sent us back some comments. They want us to fix a couple things. So we sent it back to them. I would say January, we should have it finalized, because they did get back to us pretty quickly. So there's just some tweaks we need to make and then pop it back up there. But I think we'll have a nice announcement in January. And even if it's done early, I think I might wait till January anyway. That way we have some like 2026 news right off the bat, Yeah,
that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Well, very cool. All right. So if you are excited about this, if you're excited about honest journalism and you're excited about finding ways for you to influence the news that's been coming out in a good way, and to give honest comments on the articles that you're reading, look up contentcredits.com, sign up. If you do that, you're going to get a free starter pack of 10 content credits. And I want to just talk about the pricing of this really quick. It's $10 for 40 credits. So you're putting in $10 That's the price of, that's cheaper than most subscriptions. And you're going to be able to, now you're going to have the confidence to know, I have 40 articles that I can read essentially for 25 cents. I can bypass that paywall. I can find out what's really happening in the news that I care about without having all these subscriptions dangling in your credit card bill. I know that I personally have just shut down a credit card. And I actually I left it open for 3 months to try to catch all the random subscriptions that I've signed up to it over the years.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That totally makes sense.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Cincinnati Exchange real quick. This is a cool thing because you talked about aggregation. But also we have a problem of, if you're aggregating, you're still pulling from the original source. So what is the Cincinnati Exchange doing that's cool? And how is that something that other cities can really take a hold of the news in their area?
Yeah, so I ran a couple times here in Cincinnati as a Republican, which you can't win because it's, 30% of the people that vote here are Republicans. So, but you don't necessarily run to win in a scenario like that. You run to serve your civic duty, right, and to learn.
Right.
I mean, I learned so much from that entire process that I never even knew before. Like, how do candidates raise money? How do they, get out the news about them being, a real person that's running? How do they, where do they get their signs printed? I mean, I own an ad agency. I get a discount on signs and things like that. So now I'm able to help out other candidates and get them, breaks on things. I can help them with their logos. I actually just redid the Hamilton County GOP website. I did that for free because they're, scraping nickels together over there. But now I feel like I've been involved, right? Like I've done my civic duty. I'm involved in the game, right? And it's a really interesting game once you do get involved in it. But, most of the media, because this is a heavily skewed city to one side, the media is also skewed in that direction. And I read a report one time that only 5% of journalists consider themselves conservative. And I see a trend now where America seems to be, and you could debate this with me if you want to, but look at the federal government right now. It's shifted to the right. Things are shifting to the right, the sentiment, especially after COVID.
Yeah.
I don't think news organizations can shift to the right with the market, because a lot of their employees are already have their mind made up, right? And how they want to spin narratives and things like that. So getting them to actually shift is something that I don't think they would really, really want to do very quickly. So we see a market opportunity. We see a market opportunity for a more objective news source in the city. And when I say objective, I mean objective. I'm not trying to make this like some weird, politically skewed journalism thing. And it's not just about politics. It's about sports. It's about lifestyle. It's about different perspectives. It's about giving regular people the opportunity to have their voice heard. So there's a lot of folks that are very in tune in the city and they're frustrated with the way things are working out. They want to have their voice heard. So I think the Cincinnati Exchange, especially at the level we are now, we can bring in those people and have them write op-eds and have their voice heard, make them feel like they're also part of this democratic process. And that's what we're here for. And actually, we started out as just a demo site for content credits so that we could show people at the Times and other places how content credits works on a platform and with a paywall. But now it's turned into a whole different thing thanks to, people that I'm connected to in politics saying, hey, why don't you turn this into a real paper? So we just hired a writer the other day, and we're going to be writing 2 to 3 articles a day and hopefully getting a lot of op-ed submissions.
That's exciting. Well, we are running out of time on the show. I'm about to give you about 2 or 3 minutes just to finish up with your messaging. But I want to point out here that in today's show, through content credits, we've actually attacked 3 key areas. We've attacked how we fund the media that we consume. We've attacked how we comment on the media that we consume, and then how we create the media that we consume. Those are not minor things. In fact, if you look at the Russian state, the communist state, they refer to communications or the media as the 4th organ of the state. In fact, it's the largest controlling device within a population. And what's so cool is that content credits gives you a way to bypass the state-run media, not accusing any particular media section of being that, but it allows us to keep a free and open dialogue,
That's right.
which is really our greatest amendment, the First Amendment of that freedom of speech. I think it's super exciting. But enough about me. I'm going to turn the show over to you. You got 2 or 3 minutes just to take the floors.
Yeah, so I'd encourage you guys follow. I mean, you can get on the Cincinnati Exchange right now, and you can start reading articles. We're going to be pumping out information. There's links on there to go buy content credits if you want. Most of our articles are not paywalled now, so until we start really growing the audience, most of those articles are going to be free right now. There's a couple of them on there that we mainly use for demo. But yeah, I'd encourage you guys read the Cincinnati Exchange, thecincinnatiexchange.com. I also just bought a shorter domain, which is Cincy, CINCYX.com, that you can go to get to the same URL. But yeah, I mean, we're excited about what we're doing. We're excited about our Awesome Inc. pitch later on today down in Lexington. I think Dan is going to do that one. My buddy Dan O'Keefe, one of my co-founders. He's been in PR for 24 years. He's great at presenting. But yeah, man, we're really excited. Keep an eye on our blog too. If you go to contentcredits.com, you can subscribe to our blog, and you can subscribe to our newsletter. But we put out some really interesting stuff and research. We have a white paper that we just put out recently. And jump on my LinkedIn, guys. You can find me. It's really easy. Adam Koehler, Koehler. I'm up here in Cincinnati. There's actually a couple of us. I don't know how, but there is with my weird last name. But come on up and check us out. Keep an eye on us.
I love it. Well, Adam's being awfully modest. He has been one of the great success stories of the Midwest. He did Dot Loop. He is now, he's started a co-working space called CovWorks in Covington. He's a radical supporter of the startup community. I know that he's done a lot of nice things for me, especially when I was starting out. Well known in the community. He's run for office, and now he's remaking the media empire. He is addressing how we pay for it, how we consume it, and how we create it. If you want to be a part of that, if you're an investor, an accredited investor, or not an accredited investor, and you want to say, hey, I want to be a part of the new YouTube, I want to be a part of the new Apple, I want to be a part of one of the most important innovations that's happening in our society, reach out to Adam, tell him you saw him on the Drew Sutton Leadership Show. And with that, we are